How's it going? My name is Gus, and if you haven't yet, I want to encourage you and invite you to subscribe and join me on the journey, because it might be one that you are on yourself. Because the journey that I'm on right now is falling back in love with the why behind everything I've started creating, whether it be videos and picking up film photography all over again, and even just graphic design, just like sketching it out all over my iPad and creating different photos and so on, everything, and just enjoying the process and how long things take sometimes and why they take long. And like, for example, I'm about to start developing my own film at home. And so that's what this video is about. I'm just wanting to encourage you to stop hustling and go back to your why, because you might have landed here because there's a dead feeling, because you know that feeling when you're checking all the boxes and the passion is probably completely gone. I was there, and I'm stepping out of it, if I'm honest. And I was doing everything right on paper, but spiritually and empty inside, even creatively. Like, I was working 12 to 16-hour days, hitting every deadline, saying yes to every opportunity, and realized like I wasn't working anymore for my purpose. I was working for performance, for meeting quotas and deadlines and so on. And I was grinding to prove something instead of creating from the joy that originally lit me up. And so if that's you, if that's where you are right now, I want to show you how to get back to the why that made you dream in the first place. Because we all have a breaking point, and the point is that when calling becomes a chore. So let me tell you about my breaking point, because maybe you'll see yourself in this story as well. So I currently run my business still from home and doing ministry work at the same time up until just this past July. And from the outside, everything looked successful. And I was getting results, and people were being helped and served, and the numbers were growing. But I remember this specific morning when I woke up, and the first thing I thought wasn't gratitude. It wasn't excitement about the day ahead. It was actually just dread, and pure dread about my calling. And I had to ask myself, how did I end up here? And that's when I realized that I had bought into this lie that exhaustion equals faithfulness. I'll say that again. I fell for the lie that exhaustion equals faithfulness, because I was told that at some point in my early 20s, that if you're not tired by the end of the day, then you didn't do it right. You didn't do it well. So that if I wasn't completely burned out, like I wasn't working hard enough for God's kingdom, that was what I was told and convinced. I had to let hustle culture completely infiltrate my Christian entrepreneurship, my Christian creativity. And it didn't even see, I didn't even see it happening. It creeps in, and it's very subtle. And here's what I learned the hard way. There is a massive difference between seasons of hard work and a lifestyle of grinding. Let me explain. Because God will call you into seasons where you work really hard, where you push through challenges, and where you sacrifice, right, for a specific purpose. But he never called you or I to burn out for his kingdom. That's never our calling. And he never asked you to sacrifice your health, your family, your joy on the altar of what? Productivity, deadlines, results. Like, I was confusing busyness for obedience. I'm just curious if that's you. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to pray with you and pray for you. Because I thought if my calendar was packed and I wasn't always saying yes, like that meant I was being faithful. So if it's full, it's packed, and every slot is taken, I'm like, man, this is me being faithful. But I was putting aside the things that matter. But really, because I had lost sight of why I started in the first place. And maybe you're finding yourself in this story already. So the original vision was to help people find freedom and to create something meaningful with their lives, or their craft, or their skill, or their art, or their business. But somewhere along the way, that got hijacked by performance metrics. I was measuring my faithfulness by how tired I was at the end of the day, instead of whether I was actually fulfilling my calling with joy. And the warning signs were all there, but I ignored them, maybe just like you. And when someone asked me about my business, I immediately started talking about how busy I was instead of the impact I was making. And when I thought about taking a day off, I don't know about you, but I felt guilty instead of grateful. And when I looked at my calendar, it was full of obligations instead of opportunities. Like I was doing what I thought I had to do, right? And I was treating my calling like a chore instead of a gift. And here's the thing with that, like that really got me personally. I realized I had to stop dreaming. And when people asked me about my vision for the future, I could only think in terms of the deadline or the goal that's next that I had to hit. And I had lost a sense of the wonder and possibility that originally even drew me in to begin with. And the breakthrough came when I understood that God doesn't need my exhaustion. He wants my obedience. He wants my yes. But obedience that overflows from rest and relationship, not from guilt and grinding. Like, so I had to learn that working from a place of burnout isn't more spiritual. It's actually less effective because you're operating from depletion instead of abundance. And so I started asking myself different questions. Instead of how can I do more, I started asking what is mine to do. Instead of how can I work harder, I asked how can I work from a place of rest. So instead of what will people think if I slow down, I actually asked what is God actually calling me to do in this season. And that right there was the shift. That shifted everything, because when you're working from your original why instead of performance pressure, you make different decisions. Like you say no to good opportunities. And so you can say yes to the right ones. You create boundaries that honor God first, your family, and then your business. You treat hustle as a tool that you pick up when you need it, and rather than a permanent identity. And here was the restoration point. It's like the reclaiming my original vision. So how do you actually get back to the original vision? How do you reclaim the why that made you even come alive in the first place? That's what we're going to talk about as we go to this end. The first thing is I had to do was completely flip my priorities. Instead of scheduling productivity first and hoping for recovery, I started scheduling recovery first, put rest on my calendar like it was the most important meeting of the week, whether it was time in the morning reading my Bible. Because here's the truth. You can't pour from an empty cup. Like you just can't. You can't definitely create with joy when you're running on fumes. Like think about that. Like if someone is asking you for a drink of water and you have an empty cup, like I think my coffee mug back there is empty. Like you can't pour and serve anybody like that. Right? And even then, let's take my empty coffee cup, for example. It's sitting there. And you may or may not think, and I don't know, maybe some of you saw it, it's right here, is that, oh, he's just drinking coffee, but it's empty. And it's there for what? For performance, right? It's there for just a decoration. And sometimes we can treat our lives like that. So I started treating my relationship with God, like my family time and my personal restoration, as non-negotiables. So not things I had to get to if I had time left over, but the foundation of everything else was built on. So when you do this, something amazing happens. You start making decisions from the place of abundance instead of scarcity. So you stop saying yes to everything just because you're afraid of missing out, the FOMO, right? And you start saying yes to the right things that actually align with your why and your calling. Next, I had to separate my identity from my business metrics. So that was huge for me because I had got into this place where my worth was tied to the productivity. So if I had a good week in business, guess what? I felt like a good person. And if things were slow, I felt like I was failing God somehow. And that's not healthy. Like it's definitely not biblical if you pause to think about it. Like that's not what this is all about. Like not even the life of Jesus was like that. You could see him. There's moments like in Matthew, you can see him eating and drinking with his friends and the sinners and the people that are sick. And he's in Matthew specifically. There's a passage where he's singing at the upper room when he's having his Last Supper, what we call the Last Supper. And it says that he sang sang a hymn with his disciples. I mean, think about how incredible that is. Like that does not sound like an exhausted Jesus. So again, I started reminding myself daily that I'm loved by God, and so are you. So completely apart from what I produce, my identity as a son, child of the beloved King, not a CEO or founder or content creator or whatever title I was chasing that week. And again, you might be like me in that case too. And so when you ground yourself in who you are instead of what you do, the pressure lives, so you can create from a place of freedom instead of fear. And that's what Paul said to Timothy, that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but one of love, self-control, and a sound mind. And it's not your portion. Let me say it like that. It's not your portion, and it's not for you. It's not for you to carry. So here's a practical exercise that changed everything for me. I wrote down 2 lists. The first list was why I originally started this work to begin with, and what was the vision that made me excited to get up in the morning. What problems did I want to solve, and what kind of impact did I want to make? That's the first list. The second list was why I was working. The second list was why I was working now. Sorry, I got a little tongue twisted there. Why was I working right now? What was the reason behind what I was doing right now? What was actually driving my daily decisions right now? Those are 2 different lists. The one side is everything that you originally started with. What was your original goal and mission? I think we all start there, right? Comparing it to, is what I'm doing right now in light of that, or is it far off? Am I off from why I originally even started? For me personally, the difference was shocking. So my original why was full of words like freedom, restoration, and helping, serving people, and dream again. And my current why was full of words like proving myself, hitting targets, keeping up with everyone else, making a certain amount of money. And the point is, like, no wonder why I felt empty. So I made a decision to get back to working from rest. All right, hear this. Working from rest instead of for rest. Instead of thinking, I'll rest when I achieve these goals, I started thinking, I'll work from a place of rest so I can serve with excellence. And that shift just changes how you approach every single thing. So I started treating hustle as a tool and not as a lifestyle. So there are seasons where you hustle, and when you're launching something new, and there's a deadline that matters, and God calls you to push through resistance, right? But the hustle should not be something you pick up and just keep on. It's just for a moment, and then you can put it down, and not something you wear like a badge of honor. And I don't know about you, but I've encountered many men in ministry and in business who are like, "How are you doing?" "Man, I'm busy. Like this week is so full." And then I try to get time with these men and friends and stuff, and it just doesn't work out because I don't, and the time doesn't fit in their calendar. So I have to wait, and it's hard to build like that. It's hard to build your family. It's hard to build your friendships. It's hard to build what I think we would all say really matters. And the freedom that comes from this approach is incredible. So is that you stop feeling guilty for taking breaks. You stop complaining that you're behind the scenes with everyone else is being highlighted. You start creating because you love it again, and not because you have to prove something. So here's what I want you to leave with. I need you to know that you have permission to dream again. Here's what I want you to remember. You were made to create with joy, not grind with guilt. God gave you that original vision because He wants to partner with you in bringing that to life. But He wants you to enjoy the process. And so take some time this week, reconnect with your original why. And I bet the best things to do is to write it down. Remember what made you dream in the first place. That vision is still alive in you, and it's still yours to pursue. And again, I just want to thank you for joining me. If any of that resonates with your journey right now, please let me know. I would love to hear it. I would love to see it. I would love to read it. I want to pray with you, pray for you. And if you can write down, if this is okay with you, share your why in the comments. I would love to get behind your why. And just, again, I mean it when I say it. I'm going to pray for every single comment in here. And lastly, again, if you haven't subscribed, please subscribe, follow along, and join me on this journey. And let's fall back in love with our why together.